Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche Podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account. I'm your host, Rudo, joined by AJ Hafley. AJ.
Yo, what up?
Is the middle of what is essentially the conference finals too early to call it silly season? Because this feels a little bit like a silly season show today.
Given how boring these conference finals have been, it's been pretty silly.
All right. I don't know if I'd say they were that boring. Certainly if you weren't an Isles fan, last night wasn't boring.
I didn't even watch.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that series. I watched that series last year and it's going the exact same way. So
yeah, well.
I said that it was gonna end up in it was gonna be another 6-game series, and guess what?
Yeah.
We're headed there.
Somewhat predictable, perhaps, on that front.
Didn't need to watch it again. Saw it last year. Same team, same result. It's not a matchup they can handle.
Not what we're talking about today, though. Today we're talking about silliness.
I want to ask you something before we start with the actual hockey related things.
Okay.
Z and I were having this conversation yesterday.
Oh boy.
About Vegas residencies for bands or musicians.
Okay.
And we were talking about which musical artists, musicians would you go and see in Vegas from which artist would you be most excited to go see in Vegas? You could pick anybody.
Of anybody or anybody that normally plays in Vegas?
No, not anybody that normally plays in Vegas, just anybody. Yeah, because we were talking about it's going to be great when 10 years from now, Taylor Swift decides she's done and she's just going to set up shop in Vegas and print money. Because I was like, I will go to that. I will 100% be making my way to that kind of show.
Boy. Yeah. I don't know of anyone that I think would have a really great Vegas show.
I like the Gaga answer.
All right.
A great answer.
I'm going to say an answer that doesn't make a lot of sense for me personally, because I don't like this kind of music. But I think Vegas needs a show by Guar or something where it's just totally off the wall insane. Where you have dudes spilling pig's blood all over the stands and doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. That would be
you don't even want to go to the show.
I'm not a live music person. I've been to one proper music show before.
It's also not my biggest thing, but to go to Vegas and just when Blink was there, I would have been all about that.
Blink would be super cool. That's true. Yeah, I don't know. You're asking the wrong person this question, basically.
Allie, do you have any musical artists that you would pay to see in Vegas at some point in your life?
I liked Tay Swift.
Yeah, we did that though.
Yeah, I was just telling Michaela that we went to a Taylor Swift concert at Mile High, and that was awesome.
That was a fun night. Oh, and her internet went out. Great.
That's that. Yep. Sounds about right for the way this pod has gone. Yeah. Anyway, I did see Stomp in Vegas a long time ago.
Nice.
But I don't
the
know.
Madonna answer is good too.
No, I want nothing to do with Madonna. If someone said Foo Fighters, they definitely make sense for Vegas, but
I'm back. I'm not dead.
We still don't.
She just leaves.
It's gone. We still don't know who she wants to see.
Well, I didn't know if you guys had moved on from the conversation. I just wanted to know.
We're still talking about music.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I just popped in and was like, "Hey, real quick." Taylor Swift is a good one. I don't know who.
I was also struggling.
I really don't know. I've heard big stars right now, like Ariana Grande is really great in concert, but I've never been to. I don't know.
Not my favorite music. So
Ari is definitely like Vegas-y though.
Yeah, she's like showy. Like people say that even if you don't like her music, like her concerts are just like whoa, they're like a thing.
Yeah,
but I don't know. So like that reminds me of Vegas. Bruno Mars will show up there one day. Ooh.
This whole conversation was inspired by the video that some of the NSYNC and Backstreet Boys members made over the weekend, where they were all doing the choreography to Bye Bye Bye.
No way. They also were. I saw a video of them singing Avril Lavigne songs. I was like, what is happening? This is like early 2000s.
It was so cute.
Someone Grande is not great in concert. I've heard differently, but yeah, it depends on everyone. Everyone has different takes on that stuff.
Yeah. Depends on what you think is great in concert.
It's true.
So
Blink-182, anyway. That sounds fun. I saw my first concert ever was Spice Girls Reunion.
Shit, that would be sweet.
That would be
that good. Was wild. They brought someone from the audience down, gave him a little dance and I was like, what is happening?
That should just be what Vegas is for. Vegas is just where bands get back together.
Yeah.
Yo, Gaga. I think Gaga would be amazing.
Oh, I thought Gaga too.
Unbelievable. So, yes. Are we sure that it was Avril Lavigne with Tony Hawk or Avril Lavigne's body double?
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that. The conspiracy theory of Avril Lavigne.
We should have put that on our conspiracy theory show.
Oh, God.
That's one of my all-time favorites, as Colin agrees.
Came to hear about trades, and all I get is talk about Taylor Swift.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We'll get there, man. It's the off season. You guys are just going to have to deal with us having interest in other things for a little bit. So, New Kids on the Block would be a throwback. I wouldn't go see it, but the people who would be excited about it, I respect that.
I'm going to need Evanescence to get back together in Vegas.
Amy Lee could sing. I would be all. I don't know that I would go see that one, but if Chester was still alive, Linkin Park would be great.
Yeah, that would have been a good one. Someone talking about auto-tune. We're going to see T-Pain in Vegas.
I'm on a boat.
Lonely Island in Vegas.
That would be fun.
They do their Jack Sparrow song on the actual pirate boat outside Treasure Island.
Oh, how awesome would that be?
Okay, but for real.
Yeah, not what we're here to actually talk about.
Yeah, we're here to talk about probably something as likely as some of these options that we just talked about. So in a vacuum, let's start here. In a vacuum where the salary cap doesn't matter and the price to acquire the player doesn't matter, Matt Tkachuk makes your team significantly better. That's not a hard conversation to have.
Yeah, what's wrong with Matt Tkachuk's hair?
It seemed like a relevant point. I thought I would just bring.
I don't even know what his haircut looks like right now.
He got the curls.
There's nothing wrong with curls.
Yeah, girls love Tyson Jost.
All right, is this why? Did he cut his curls into like a half mullet? Is that what we're talking about is bad?
No, I don't know that I've seen that, but live your truth, Matt Tkachuk.
It's not great. I'm not going to lie to you. This look is not great. Don't love it.
Oh, I think that's awesome.
Don't love it. I don't love the short sides, but his hair normally looks fine to me. Like, I have no problem when he's not rocking a curly mullet.
Yo, that's badass. Yeah, that's a metal haircut.
You can see all the like hockey dudes are like, yes, that is the haircut, but it's not the male model haircut.
Look, does he fit with the male models? I don't think so, but
so it was a good point.
I think he adds an edge to the male models. I like the lines in the side. I think that's metal. I'm good with that.
He's like, it's like the Patrick Mahomes wannabe look.
Balls on ice. Yes. That's exactly what's up. Balls on ice. Yes. Yeah, instead of jorts, Rudo, you got to get your hair like that.
We have to bust out Allie's feminine products to get my hair that curly.
I mean, we can bring some of the little like scruncher thing, all that stuff.
Yeah, what you showed us that one like hair curler thing the other day.
Oh yeah, the one that like wrapped around.
Yeah.
That you couldn't believe you was a hair curler. Yeah.
Go check out our TikTok, guys. We got a lot of funny and good content on there.
Yeah. Definitely go look at that, and hopefully y'all know more than we did about those products. In any case, regardless of his hair, Tkachuk is, I mean, honestly, he has scored at top line production rates over the last couple of years.
Yep.
So from that standpoint, it's a no-brainer. He will make your team better pretty much no matter who you are. If the rumors are to be believed as of late that
he doesn't want to be
that
there.
He wants out of Calgary, which, to be clear, at this point they're just rumors. I don't know how much legs they actually have to them.
Well, we talked about Calgary last week,
a
little bit, and I even said in passing, like, that would be the perfect guy. It would be Tkachuk.
It also makes very little sense from a team standpoint in Calgary to move that dude.
Yeah. I mean, that would be you got to burn it down.
Yep.
Like, you are burning it down.
Yep.
If you're moving on from Tkachuk.
To the ground. On the floor.
From a Colorado fit, though, look, we'll get into what it might take to get him, how willing each of us
get there. Yeah.
would be to do it, and then what we would give up and all those types of things. We'll get into all that, but just on the surface, Matt Tkachuk is available. You at least make that phone call.
Yep. It's not hard to be interested in any case. I think the part of Tkachuk's game is that he checks kind of everyone's boxes, right? Like, you have the Avs fans that want them to get bigger, grittier, stronger. He does that. You have the Avs fans that want to maintain high production, get more consistent production out of what would be their second line, or you could put him on the top line, whatever. It doesn't matter how you drop him into your top six. He's going to help you score more as well. So he's also, I mean, he's not all world defensively or anything, but he's not going to hurt you defensively either.
Yeah. He's not a bad defensive player at all.
Yep. So there's no downside to acquiring Matt Tkachuk, the player. There's lots of downside in acquiring what is going to be his cap hit now and in the future, as well as the cost it's going to take to get him. Potentially. Obviously, you never know. But I would lock myself in my crawl space for 3 months if Tkachuk were here and Landy was gone. Yeah,
that's particularly funny if you know that Cygnus is super tall and all leg. So the idea of him like smashing himself into a crawl space is particularly amusing to me.
I'm gonna start calling him Harry Potter.
Oh, that's cruel. Jeez, man.
But look, if Tkachuk is actually available, there are 31 teams in the NHL calling about him.
Yeah. Seattle's calling like
extremely hard. Yeah.
What does Seattle have to offer at this point? They're not giving up number 2 overall. Seattle calls and is like, "Hey, look, when we get some expansion lists,
we
can revisit this."
Ask again after they've convinced 4 teams to give them their first round picks, and then go from there.
That'd be good.
But we'll have to. Seattle would have to do some finagling. Honestly, a lot of teams would have to do some finagling, and part of the problem, if Tkachuk wants out, is there's a significant number of teams that just straight up won't be able to afford him.
Yep.
So we can get into that conversation in the second period. We do have to take our first period break first, as we are brought to you by Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR. You can get it down at the DNVR bar or at your local liquor store using the Breck Beer Locator online. Try their seltzers as well. I know AJ is gonna try to bring some up to Canada with him when he gets the chance, but Border Patrol might have to snipe him.
Shout out anybody in Winnipeg that's going to be there all summer. Hopefully, if things ease up a bit. It would be cool to see some DNVR peeps in Canada.
Come chill with the Winnipeg gang.
Yeah.
Also brought to you by Solace Med. That's SOLACE meds.com. You get 20% off online when you use code DNVR20 and pick up at any of the 4 locations here in Colorado, including one just a couple blocks away from the DNVR bar. Jump on that. They also have select products ranging anywhere from 10 to 25% off when you go in store. So take a look at their selection. They have a bunch of amazing products. They'll take care of you top to bottom. Also, DNVR memberships. Those are cool. Or if you're not going to do a membership, at least like and subscribe to the video, because that helps us out a ton here on YouTube. So jump on that. If you really like us, you can get the annual membership where you get a free shirt. You get big beers at the DNVR bar. You get access to the DNVR lounge where we're always chatting. All that good stuff. You can come hang out with us. Always a fun time. Looking forward to it. Very likely, using the DNVR lounge and stuff for future shows when we start to do be a GM modes on Cap Friendly's tool or potential mock drafty kind of stuff. So
I got a DM last night.
Uh-oh.
That said, from one of our listeners that said, my Be a GM is ready. When are you guys doing the Be a GM show? Like, I already did my off season, and I was like, I'm not sure yet, but it's coming at some point.
Yeah, it'll come.
Coming at some point.
All right. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche Podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. So let's get into it here. First of all, let's talk about Tkachuk's contract situation. Because as it stands, he has 1 year left on a $7 million deal. He will be RFA at the end of it, so if you do acquire him, you retain his rights, but it's going to be payday for Matt Tkachuk. The Avs would have to move out significant money to make this function. And look, the obvious slot-in spot is that he replaces Brandon Saad in the Avs top 6, essentially. Saad does not return. You replace him with Tkachuk. They lose some money in the expansion draft one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
But then you still are looking to shed probably more than that, whether it be...
Well, and this is where the cost of the deal gets into it, because you're going to have to give up a contract.
Right. You're giving up significant money coming back the other way.
So the thing is it's $7 million this year.
Right. But
okay, and then he's got one more RFA year next season.
That you are looking to extend him long term, probably.
Right, and he's got a $9 million qualifying offer, which really isn't that big of a deal. You're not really worrying about it because you'll just sign him to a longer term contract. And
it's not
that $9 million is purely to ensure that if he's in a situation he doesn't want to be in,
he can get $9 million for a year and be done with it. Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
And go play wherever he wants to go. Yep. That's just bargaining power for him. So otherwise the $9 million qualifying offer just isn't that meaningful. He's not going to get $9 million on a new contract.
Nope.
If you look at it, like you look at his production, look, he's a really, really good player. Mikko Rantanen got 9.25. He's not getting that.
And Rantanen significantly more productive than Tkachuk, so
significantly more productive.
Yeah. Tkachuk has 1 year in the ballpark of point per game, and even that's under a point per game. So, you're looking at Tkachuk as maybe a 65-point player, 60 to 65-point guy, realistically. You think more? Do you think more like 70?
I do.
I struggle with that because his one big year, it was his highest shooting percentage year by a lot.
Yeah, I'm not looking for him to repeat the 34 goals necessarily.
Yeah. He, much like as everyone in the chat is comparing him to Landeskog, though, he's pretty automatic for 20 in a full season.
Oh, yeah.
So certainly there's a lot of value there, but when you're looking around the league and you're looking for comparable deals, Certainly, I would struggle to see anyone wanting to pay him more than $8 million.
Yeah, I think $8 million is where I'd have to stop.
Like Ryjo's deal or something like that. I know that's somewhat old, but flat cap has weird effects. But
I mean, it's that's the thing, is that there are not going to be any comparables for him.
Yeah,
that make any sense. Like he's not going to get Marner money. Obviously, he's not even going to get Rantanen money. So, will he go up from that $7 million? Probably, but not significantly.
Yep.
And not that $7 million isn't already a lot.
An insane amount of money, right?
But that's where you get into the cost of the deal. And I mean, you start with Burakovsky.
Sure. If you want to go that way about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where you would like to build around that second line, right?
Yep.
But you have to move money. You can't just add Tkachuk $7 million and trade away picks and prospects and be like, it's there.
I think I think the much easier look to do thing would be EJ.
Okay, well, Calgary's not trading Matt Tkachuk for.
No, I get it. There's a bunch of other stuff you have to add there, and the deal ends up being massive at that point. You're probably talking about losing Newhook in that deal.
Are you?
I think if I'm Calgary, that's what I'm asking for.
Okay, well, when you get told no, then what are you asking for?
Then it probably breaks down. But
I mean, I think there's enough there that they could come up with a deal. I mean, not like Andre Burakovsky's a peasant.
So if you're the Avs, do you try, like, obviously we don't know what's going to happen in the expansion draft, but can you try and make a deal there around Donskoy instead of Burakovsky?
No. I mean, why would Calgary do that?
Well, obviously there's other first-round picks and probably prospects involved in this deal.
Yeah, but I mean, what good does Jonas Donskoy do them? It's a waste of time.
Why?
Because he doesn't do anything for them.
He is going to produce less than Burakovsky, but he can come in and play a winger role.
Yeah, I mean, yes, he has a heartbeat. He has a pulse. He can come in and play hockey. But I mean, like, he's not an impact player. You're not getting anything. Like, they would have to be, if they try to build a deal around Donskoy, it would have to cost the Avs like multiple firsts. It would have to cost them several of their at that point you are giving up a new hook if you're trying to mess with Donskoy as your money.
I mean, yeah, I think it doesn't make a ton of sense for the Avs otherwise, because when you start talking about Tkachuk and Burakovsky, look, I get it. Burakovsky is not going to give you anywhere near the production that Tkachuk might, but you're talking into a conversation of min-maxing at that point.
Well, I think they're going to give similar production. I mean, Tkachuk has like the higher end, right?
Sure.
But you look at, I mean, Burakovsky had 44 points in 53 games and 45 points in 58 games in the last 2 years. Like, he's on his way, both essentially 20-goal seasons. He's on his way to a pretty good, like, he's a legitimate top 6 player.
Yeah. So to my point,
he's also 26 and heading into UFA, so he's going to be expensive on his own, which is why he makes sense in that deal.
Maybe I think he might make sense for the Avs. I don't think that makes a ton of sense for Calgary, the UFA side of him coming through there, unless, I mean, if they have an agreement in place to extend him or whatever.
Or they can use Burakovsky to turn around and, because again, if they're trading Tkachuk, you're burning it down.
Yeah, right. Calgary's starting over, which is why I'm saying their number one target, I think, would be Newhook.
Well, right, but Colorado won't do that. That'll be a no.
I think Colorado probably doesn't end up with Tkachuk then, is my point. But
so I think they would have to be, I mean, that you start with Burakovsky, and then they could, because Colorado has to move money out in order to take money in.
Whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
We can start with Berkey. It's fine.
And then whatever they do with Burakovsky is up to them, man. A 26-year-old 20-goal scorer who's heading into free agency is going to have value.
Yeah.
Like they can either re-sign him, which I don't know why they would. They should just turn around and trade him for a first-round pick to a team that needs him. Like, and that's what you do. You get Burakovsky from Colorado, and then you get Connor Timmins, and you get Justin Barron, and you get a first-round pick. And then you turn around and you trade Burakovsky to another team for a first-round pick and, whatever, maybe a prospect too. But that's what you do. And then that's how you rebuild all of it. That's how you reload your organization with blood.
Just feels like unnecessary extra steps when they could go somewhere else with Tkachuk, but sure.
Well, maybe. And like, maybe that's where Buffalo rolls in and is like, hey, we'll start with Jack Eichel. And then Colorado's like, well, we aren't
not going to compete with that.
Can't touch that shit.
Yeah.
So, but that's just where because again, if they're trading Tkachuk, they're starting over. They're getting rid. They're not just trading Tkachuk. They're trading Monahan. They're trading Gaudreau.
Everything's
they're trading
going.
Lindholm.
Yeah.
And then getting Burakovsky doesn't do anything for them.
I agree. That's why
it just takes money in. Colorado has to get rid of money.
Yeah, I understand Colorado has to get rid of money.
If you're Calgary, do you want Eric Johnson and $6 million for 2 years that you're going to have trouble moving? Or do you want Burakovsky that you're not going to – Burakovsky could be in Calgary. He could be a Calgary Flame for 25 minutes because he's got value around the league. 20 teams in the NHL would love to have that guy.
I mean, so
that's why I'm starting with Burakovsky is that, yeah, it'll be a pending UFA,
so
but you can easily just get that guy and then move him on.
But so you would rather give them Burakovsky than throw in the extra first or whatever that they would end up flipping Burakovsky for anyway.
Well, you have to get rid of money.
No, I understand, but
that's the only reason I'm involving Burakovsky in this. You would have loved to build Burakovsky and Tkachuk as your wingers. That would be perfect, but you're not in that world.
Would it be that hard to move a Donskoy who's $1 million less that you get rid of? Sure, but
well, he wouldn't have any value to them because that's a middle six player that they're not going to be able to turn around and flip for very much value. And then if he plays for them, he doesn't do anything.
What I'm saying is the Avs are giving the value that they would have gotten anyway by flipping someone like Burakovsky if they throw in another first or something like that. I
understand what you're saying, but from Calgary side of things, then Jonas Donskoy is just there, right?
Yeah, but then they can flip Donskoy for a 4th-round pick or whatever. Nothing, they can just dump him and it's fine because they already got the value from the Avs trade.
Yeah, Kadri can't fit into this because he already vetoed the trade to Calgary.
Yeah,
once.
There's zero chance that Kadri ever goes to Calgary. So that's not on the table.
Yeah, he already said no. So that's why we're not talking about Kadri. Otherwise, Kadri would have been the money I would have started with.
So, I mean, we could
imagine if you could with Kadri, because then you could go with Tkachuk, Newhook, and Burakovsky on your second line, and you're feeling sexy.
Yeah, that feels
and
great.
You keep Landeskog long term, and then as Landeskog ages, he and Tkachuk just switch spots.
So I know we're talking a lot about the dollar value here, but I did want to nail down what it would actually take to get him. Tkachuk, that is. So we're talking about a top 6 player.
Yeah.
Probably, if we're talking about a Timmins, that's a budding NHL player.
I think
borderline.
I think he's a second pairing defender in a situation where he gets to play a lot.
Sure. If a team is blowing it up, he's in their starting lineup immediately.
Yeah, Timmins in Colorado is kind of stuck.
Yeah, agreed.
As a third pairing guy right now. And I think he will outperform that. And there's plenty of reason to believe hey, you just keep him, right?
Yep.
And you let him be a really good third pairing guy that's just better than your average bear down there. But you also know that at some point, he's going to start to produce offense. He's going to start to push. He's going to want a bigger role. He's not going to be happy playing 17 minutes a night behind the star-studded guys that are in front of him and all that. So that's where the other conversation comes in. Do you just start the Tkachuk conversation with the defense? Do you go with Sam Girard?
I wouldn't.
Like, I understand the value of that contract is incredible, but you can also quote kind of replace Sam Girard internally with Bowen Byram.
So, all right. I mean, like, again, this is going to come down to the total contract value. Are we talking 1-for-1 Taylor Hall for Adam Larson? Sure, I'll do Sam Girard straight up for Tkachuk.
I would also do Sam Girard straight up for Tkachuk,
but I'm assuming Calgary's going to want more than that.
How much more would you look at? If they want more, it can't be a big ask.
That's what I'm saying. And I think, again, if they're moving Tkachuk, they're blowing it up. That means they're going to want things like first round picks or high level prospects. And it's really hard.
If you get a 23, 22-year-old Sam Girard,
I think, yeah, then
you're getting a really good young defender.
I hear you, but also, what's to stop Sam Girard from just saying the exact same thing Tkachuk just said, if this rumor is true?
The fact that he has 6 years left on his contract and Tkachuk has essentially 2 more years until he can walk into free agency.
I get the difference there.
That's it. That's what a guy with 6 years left on a contract wants. Doesn't matter.
You're also buying 6 years of a guy where, I mean, Calgary's blowing it up if they're doing this. Right. So you're essentially wasting the first couple of years of that deal.
Yeah, I mean, but by the end of it, if they blow it all up, they go first round picks, blah blah blah. You fast forward, let's say 3 years until they're competitive. He's still 25 years old.
Yeah,
and he's still signed for 3 more years after that. That's why him being as young as he is makes you could put him into a rebuild there, because he'll still be useful. If he was 26 years old, then it wouldn't make any sense, because you're Anthony Mantha in Detroit at that point. But at Girard's current age, when theoretically, if they make all these deals and they trade all these guys for futures, 3 years until those futures start to hit and come into fruition and all that stuff, then there you go. Girard he's right in the heart of his prime to help them. And then, Tkachuk is also right in the heart of his prime to help Colorado.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I still struggle.
1-for-1, I do it.
Yeah, same.
If they want more than that,
it gets hard to do. Yeah. Then
I'm saying no, because Girard is too good of a player and too valuable for contract.
Right. The reality is defensemen in the NHL are just more of a premium product than forwards are. Yep. Full stop.
Yep. And especially a guy that in Colorado, at least initially, would be on your second line.
Yep. So I definitely don't think Calgary would want to do it for 1-for-1, and I would struggle to give up more than a 1-for-1 deal in that specific case. But maybe that's another way they could look at an angle to get the job done. Because if you're doing a forward for a forward spot, you're looking at giving up significant prospect capital, and you can call Connor Timmins whatever you want. He's kind of a graduated prospect at this point.
I think he is. So they full-timed him the second half of the season and the postseason. They had Bowen Byram ready to take his job, and they didn't do it. He's graduated, bro. It's done.
Yep.
Cap Friendly has him on the Eagles right now, and I'm just like, he's not going back there, buddy.
No. But then you're looking at giving up probably another high-end prospect at that point. Now, what do you want to call that? Is that a Shane Bowers? Is that a Justin Barron?
I think there's a big difference between those two guys.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is it a Martin Kaut? Where do you draw that line?
Well, I think
you've already said no to Newhook.
Well, I think Barron is a guy that, for the same reason that you can survive moving on from Girard, you're okay moving on from Barron. Is that
totally? That's
a guy that, like, would you love to have him? Would you love to have him? And on the ELC and blah blah blah. Yeah, of course. But
Hellison wouldn't be enough.
Hellison's not a high end prospect.
He just doesn't hold a ton of value in a trade.
Like I think he would be he's a good B prospect in a deal.
Yeah, he's the last piece to make it fall into place.
Exactly.
Kind of
he's the guy that pushes you across the finish line, not the guy that gets you to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
So, but Barron is a different conversation. Barron is a guy that you can dream on right now as a top pairing defenseman. I don't know that I am personally, but look at the year that he just had. He was finally healthy.
Yep.
He tore up Halifax, rolls into the AHL, and looks
just
very, very comfortable
against pros. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not, and you look at his size and you look at his skating ability, and you're like, okay,
this sure seems like a fit.
This is a guy that you're going to have to keep an eye on now, and could be a legitimate top 4 guy for you.
Yep. I mean, it's the reality of it is, I think the Avs are 1, 2, maybe 3 years away from being Nashville in 2016.
Yeah.
Like, they just have too many NHL caliber defensemen, and they have to find value by moving them out.
Yeah.
Some of them. I
mean, look, I don't think we're ever going to see an Avalanche defense that just had. I don't think we're ever going to see an Avalanche defense that has Gerard, Makar, Byram, Timmins, and Barron.
It would be really hard to fit all of that.
I don't think that there's ever going to be an Avalanche defense that has all those cats. Other teams, I think, are going to try and make it worth Colorado's while to move them, and Colorado's going to use that opportunity to stick some money and, stick a JT Compher contract next to it and move it out to try and keep the roster as balanced as possible.
Yep. I tend to agree with you. Also, you run into contract and dollar value problems. Not to mention their entire defense would be like 25 and under with that setup.
I mean, I didn't include John. I always call him John. What is with me lately? It doesn't include Devon Taves in that conversation, who is signed for 3 more years and is coming off a phenomenal year.
Like arguably the Avs' second best defenseman this year. But, so it's gonna be an interesting conversation how the Avs want to use those assets, because look. Obviously, AJ and I are still big believers in guys like Martin Count and Shane Bowers. But if Newhook's off the table, the Avs don't have the high-end prospects to give that they do on the defensive side with their forward prospect.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking top forward prospects right now, it's Newhook.
Yep.
And then after that, it's a conversation.
Big gap to the next guy.
It's some conversation of Ranta, Bowers,
Kaut,
Foodie, Bocage.
Yep.
Am I missing anybody?
I probably wouldn't even have Bocage in that conversation, but yeah.
I wouldn't. Okay, agreed. I'm fine moving on. Sure. Leaving him off the list for now.
Yep.
So it's some mixture of those cats.
Yep.
None of those guys is really high end, although Ranta probably has the sexiest of the shine right now.
Sure.
Because everybody feels great about him, and he hasn't had a year to languish in the AHL where you're wondering when the hell is this guy ever going to see the NHL.
Definitely true. But again, it's just there isn't the caliber of.
But Cale Makar's not going anywhere. You're fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about those tears, my friend.
Yeah. Makar's.
I was going to say, I would cry too. Like, that'd be terrible.
There's one guy in the NHL I would realistically consider trading Cale Makar for, and Colorado doesn't need him. So
I feel like you could switch that on your head and say Colorado already has that dude.
Yeah, sure.
And Nathan McKinnon,
that's what I'm saying.
The only dude I'd trade him for. Yeah,
they don't need a franchise center because they got one already.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it would be McDavid.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be the only one.
Do you want a multiple-time Hart Trophy winner after this year?
For a Norris Trophy finalist.
Yeah, boy. Yeah. What a blockbuster that would be.
that would be a 1-for-1 tweet that would rock the world. Like, the hockey world wouldn't know what to do.
Yep.
I wouldn't even know how to feel about it.
It'd be super weird. It would be super weird. Like, where would you even start with that?
Yeah. I don't know.
One of them, I mean, you probably just play one of them on the wing like Team Canada is going to do, right? But no, you go down the middle.
Yeah, I let one of those guys
just feast on second lines.
Look, Vegas threw the kitchen sink at Nathan McKinnon. They don't have enough house left to handle that shit.
Okay, well, take our second period break there because you know what? Sometimes you have to throw the kitchen sink at your junk. Stop doing that and get the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Get 20% off with code DNVR20.
Sure.
All right. Sometimes it gets unruly down there, AJ. Sometimes you gotta weed whack a little bit. You know. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, man. Totally.
Spoken like a man who's never had to deal with it before.
Totally, man. That's just what happens.
Okay, promo code. Let's go.
Yeah, DNVR20. Use the code to get free shipping and 20% off with their new Perfect Package 4.0. Less bonk. No lie, my wife actually used the trimmer to help shave her legs the other day. So, like, it does have non-bonk uses as well. It can be useful in actually shaving your normal hairs. So, get on it. Do that. Check them out today. Also brought to y'all by Chevalier Mortgage. Both Mike and Virginia have been in the business for quite a long time here in Denver. They're local big sports fans, you know. They're our type of people. So check them out at dnvrmortgage.com and get a free consultation as well as a chance to win some free DNVR merch as well. Look, they're awesome. Mike is a certified financial planner, so unlike a lot of these places where they just want to get you a great rate, they can not only get you that with Chevalier Mortgage, but they will take a look at your entire picture and get the exact right loan for you. So check them out today. It's a super stressful process, and they will take care of you top to bottom when you're looking into buying a house. Michael Chevalier, NMLS 1931006, Virginia Chevalier, NMLS 1910631. Also, while you're on it, head on over to Get a Better Insurance. Gabby Insurance, that's gabi.com/DNVR. Look, if you're going to buy a new house, you're going to want house insurance, and Gabby can get you the best deal on it. They can also take care of your auto insurance. Us here at DNVR have saved hundreds using the service, in some case even over $1,000. AJ's memeing at the chat, but
Matt Barzell got fined for cross-checking.
He got a fine? Okay. Did Joel Edmondson get anything for that uncalled penalty the other night?
Who?
It's awfully convenient that the whole biased for Vegas side of the refs fans when Joel Edmondson gets away with stuff like that. But anyway, not the point. Get yourself insured. Save yourself a ton of money. It's awesome. Do that. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche Podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Look, the Avs are very solid as is, I think.
Their soup's good, man.
And that makes it hard to move in a piece as big as Tkachuk.
Yeah.
So
I just don't think 45 minutes, we've spent probably 30 of these, 35 of these.
Yep.
Talking about Matthew Tkachuk, and I just don't see how they make it work. It's too much money.
I don't see how it's unless something weird happens, right? Where some craziness goes on where they can move out EJ's contract for free, essentially.
The deal that we were just talking about, like Burakovsky and all that, and then they just tack on EJ $6 million to it.
Yeah, right, exactly. And someone has to help them out, is my point. Like, not make them overpay to dump some cap, essentially. So I don't see how they fit the $7 million. It's even harder for me to see how they fit his next contract, particularly with McKinnon's deal coming up.
Yeah, because we haven't really gotten into it, but next year, next July 1st, Colorado can start talking extension with Nathan McKinnon.
At that point, McKinnon is eligible to sign an extension. So it gets real hard to pay McKinnon if you add on a $7 million plus player.
Well, if you give Tkachuk $8 million on his next deal, and then Landy $7 million on his next deal, you can't keep Grubauer.
Yeah, it's not even a question at that point. You're shedding pieces at a rapid rate if you make a move like that.
Yeah.
Granted, if that move wins you a cup, you don't care. But
is this one of the, if Landeskog walks in free agency?
Yeah, then it's much more of a conversation.
Not only is it much more of a conversation, but something like this becomes important.
Whether it be Tkachuk or Reinhart or whoever,
yeah.
You have to get a bona fide top 6 player that has that, I don't know if I want to call it an edge to their game, but can do the dirty work for the superstars like a McKinnon and Rantanen. Someone that can go to the front of the net, that can get to the dirty areas and keep plays alive for those guys.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, if in a world where Landy ends up going to free agency, we'll be talking about this again, I would think. But I don't think Landy's going to free agency. So
yeah. Although, we talked about it yesterday. Clock's ticking.
Crazy things can happen. There's no doubt about it.
They really need to start finalizing some decisions here in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, if they have nothing done going into the week of the drafts, they're in trouble.
They're definitely at least in Landy trouble.
Yeah. So could be tough. We'll have to wait and see. And this one is a weird one because I think there's significantly more legs to some other rumors out there, like the Seth Jones stuff, the Eichel and Reinhart stuff in Buffalo.
Yeah, we talked about. We talked about Reinhart last week, where if Landy walks, Reinhart's the first thing that you do.
Yeah.
I think if
Kachuk's on the market, he becomes option A. Yeah,
he's option A, and then Reinhart would be option B.
Yeah, I actually agree. As much as I love Reinhart,
same, but Matt Tkachuk
he's a different animal. Yeah.
Are you worried at all about when it comes to Tkachuk? Would you be worried at all about what has been kind of lackluster postseason performances so far?
No,
like really limited, obviously, really limited career in the postseason.
Let me see. 5 points in 15 games. One of his rookie year, he had 4 playoff games with no points. Yeah, it's not great, but I'm not worried about that at all. Part of that is going to be role in the playoffs for him too, because they put him in a role where he's averaging under 2 shots a game. No. The short answer is no. Again,
okay.
You're putting him in a role where, yes, you need a certain level of production, but let's be honest, in the playoffs, that job's dude is going to be the option that is either just giving pucks to the big guns or is the dude that's wide open because they're doubling Nathan McKinnon or something.
Are you worried at all about Tkachuk's general douchebaggery?
No. The Tkachuk's...
Is that part of his selling point?
I think it is, yes. Part of his selling point is definitely the scummery. The type of player that, every team in the league hates until they play for you.
Yeah.
And I think it's extremely similar to Gabe Landeskog when he was a little bit younger, where he walks that line and on occasion he will step over it, but it's never anything super egregious. I definitely think he's a pest to play against, but
getting him away from the Battle of Alberta probably helps him.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will be at the golf course for the DNVR golf guys. My tee time's 4:30, so I will be at the party, coming for that Breck Brew bag. Want to win it. As Chad is reminiscing here, in a universe where you keep it, you have Kadri and Tkachuk as your second line, and every team in the league hates their lives playing against that line.
Yeah. I'm just saying, but would that not be the perfect line to just drop Martin Kaut onto?
Yeah. Boy, that would be fun.
The other perfect line for him would just be that Nichushkin Jost line.
Yeah. You wonder how much offense you get out of it, but that line would just grind teams to death.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. A fun conversation on Tkachuk, if certainly feels a bit unrealistic for Colorado right now. But that can change in the future. You never know how things shake out. I'm actually interested to see how our week of shows that we've done and probably will continue to do through the rest of this week look in a month's time after the 2 drafts.
Yeah. And
see how close to target we actually were. But it should be fun. Any final thoughts on Tkachuk, Calgary? I'm here comes the part where you tell me they should target Mangiapane if they really are blowing it up.
No, they should start with Tkachuk and Lindholm if they're blowing it up.
Fair enough. No argument from me.
So Mangiapane would be great too, as a tertiary option.
So everyone wants Calgary to blow it up, is what it sounds like. They have a bunch of good players that everybody wants.
Exactly. Blow it up and give us like one good carcass for all the vultures to circle. It's so boring watching it be Buffalo every damn year.
That carcass is down to bones at this point.
Seriously. Like, golly, we're talking about Eichel and Reinhardt over here.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Rough. All right. Well, we're going to get out of here for the day. Thank you for hanging out, chat. Whether you watch, listen, or consume the podcast in any way you do, we appreciate you. Again, like and subscribe to the video on YouTube. Highly recommend you watch us on YouTube. It's the best way to get the pod. You can see our ugly faces as well as, cool graphics and images that we brought up, like Matt Tkachuk's curly mullet with the sideburn lines. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Great description. Curly mullet with sideburn lines.
Yep. Look, that's what you're missing. You have to listen to my bad descriptions of them if you're not watching the YouTube video. So
remember after when we had Rudo describe memes to the podcast listeners?
Yeah, that was rough. That's
that
a tough
was amazing.
Job. It's a tough job. Anyway, we're out of here. Thank you so much. We will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. And remember, Thursday evening, I believe, around 5 p.m., we're having the 1000th episode of the DNVR Avalanche Podcast. Going to be some familiar faces on the show. Hope y'all will tune in and have a drink with us. Enjoy reminiscing about, or maybe getting caught up with, the history of BSN DNVR. Until then, we'll talk to y'all later.